Boom. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the very last show of the year 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. This is my favorite holiday of all of them. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you had a great year. Um, I hope you got some of your resolutions done for 2025. The fact that we are here speaking to each other and we're still a family is great because a lot of people didn't make it out of 2025. So if you are here and you are hearing my voice, it's a blessing. And thank you for checking out the Kenny Parker Show. We are show 130. And I was looking at the comments before I came on, but then this program just deleted like 15 minutes of comments. So I think they're trying to keep me on I think they're trying to keep me on pace and not fall behind. That's what I think it is. Uh Spook Realm 4Q, you were not first today. Um I saw that. I can't remember who was number one, but it was not you today. Uh that's not good. Um what else I was gonna say? Anyway, public service announcement. Please get the book. The link is in the description below. If you don't have the book, please get the book. Uh, please hit the like button if you get a chance. Really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. And big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on. Um, Let me scroll down now and see what's going on. I was doing some stuff right before I got on, so I was a little bit discombobulated. If you guys noticed, I came on like about 45 seconds late. Uh, let's see. Gregory Nettis, what up? Abdullah Muhammad. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Abdullah Muhammad, what up? Um, Christina Horton, hey, hello. Um, let's see. Orrin Hamilton. I haven't seen that name in a while. What's going on, man? B. Boyle Joneson, what's up? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show featuring Daylight Doyle. It's sponsored by Benny Doyle Scroll Down. That is perfect. Sydney Rhodes, what up? Mike Rocks, what up? Kenny, what's your input on the new Nas LP? We talked about the Nas LP. You haven't been around, Orrin Hamilton. We talked about that in depth a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not going to get into it today. Um, Go back like 3 lives. We talked about it a lot. That's like an hour. A Steel, what up? Mike Rocks, what up? JT, what's good? Gregory Ness's Knight Rider got one of the coolest intros ever that was sampled. There's been a few samples of TV show intros. I know I Dream of Jeannie was big in the 80s. Uh, SWAT was big. A lot of people sampled the theme from SWAT. Um, there's been a few really funky bass lines and like funky beats in the beginning of songs. Sopranos got sampled by Nas. Uh, Rod Justice says, Kenny Parker, end of the year soapbox filibuster. Let's go. Are you trying to soup me up into a rant? Um, I'm gonna try not to rant, but there's people on this channel, y'all know the kind of questions that get me into my soapbox. So we'll see. Uh, in an interview, can you ask KRS One questions you don't already know the answers to? Yes. Uh, but there are questions that a lot of people ask on this channel, or I've heard people ask that I don't think has ever been addressed publicly. So there are questions that I know the answer to, but I would like to hear him say it to the people. And there are some questions I would like to ask. Like, why his essays on BDPism wasn't on By All Means Necessary, but you put nervous on there? Oh, that's a rant about to come. Y'all know my nervous rant from By All Means Necessary. A still says if you ain't hitting the like, you definitely if you ain't hitting the like, you don't really rock with Kenny. You're just taking up space. It's all good. If you don't hit the like, you hit the like. I would love for you guys to hit the like. Um, but if you don't like the show, that's fine. Everyone is not gonna like what you do. So I don't know. We just on here and we just uh have a good time. I saw on some basketball news, I saw that the Joker uh did not tear up his knee as was feared last night. I don't know if any of you guys saw him go down. Turns out to be a hyperextension, and he'll be out for a month, which is good news because a tear would have been a year and change. But that's definitely going to bump Joker out of the MVP race, which he was the front runner and probably would have been MVP this year. It sucks for him because he was about to get his fourth MVP or something. The guy is dominating. You know how I feel about the Joker on this channel. Um, but now it leaves the field open for somebody else. Platform. Happy New Year's Eve, KP. Much love and all the best for you in 2026. Hope we can get the KP greatest hits of all your top tracks you worked on with other artists over the years. That'd be dope. But it'll be my opinion of greatest hits. Because I've done songs that weren't hits that I thought were great. Flochi, thanks for another great year, KP. Thank you for watching. Corey Flusses Kenny, the last episode of 2025. We need you to rant all episode. Let it out. Oh my God. I tell you what was funny. Speaking of a rant, I just started watching the Diddy documentary like 2 days ago. I watched the first three of four um, episodes. And guess who has a little slight cameo in the documentary? They talk about rappers that were the foundations or like that was dope in hip hop when Diddy first started. They show Public Enemy, they show EPMD, they talk about some people, and then they show KRS-One, and they showed him twice. The second time that they showed KRS-One, he's rocking on the mic. And guess who's DJing? Yours truly, Kenny Parker. And for a second, you could see my head in the camera because it just goes right past, but you could see my head for a second rocking in the camera. So I got to get a timestamp for that. I got to go back and watch it and get the exact timestamp. I believe it's in like the first 15 minutes of the first episode. Um, I am in the Diddy doc. Does that mean I was at the freak offs? Oh my goodness. I saw that and I wanted to bring that up. And the doc also talks about how people from Bad Boy were not getting any money due to bad contracts, and how Puffy learned this from Andre Harrell, who wasn't giving any money to anybody at Uptown Records, allegedly. And I did a rant on this channel about a month ago about how my generation dropped the ball. and I said it before, how we could have changed hip hop, my generation, but instead we decided to take the crumbs from the table of the oppressors and jerk our own people. And I look and I saw how Andre Harrell, black man, had one of the first black owned hip hop companies that was music companies that was making huge noise. They had Heavy D, they had Guy, um, Rex and Effects, um, Father MC, and then they moved into Mary and Jodeci. That Uptown Records doesn't get mentioned as much as they should for the amount of big gold and platinum selling artists they had on Uptown. Shout out to Intro too, my boys from Intro. I went to high school with Buddy from Intro. Um, say all that to say, Andre Harrell, allegedly, according to this documentary, wasn't giving any of the artists any money outside of the initial advance that they got. And they did a lot of switching with the books so that the artists never really knew what they sold. Puff learned from Andre Harrell the ropes. And what did he do? Did he say, okay, I know what's going on. Let me now school the up and coming people? No. Instead, he did the same thing. And that was been my argument the whole time about our generation. Puffy is part of my generation. And we could have made record companies give better deals. We could have schooled our artists on what the game really was, but instead we jerked our own people, our friends. Um, and I saw that in the documentary too, which I already knew. Most of the stuff in the documentary I already knew, but 50, for whatever reason he has, that's another conversation, has compiled it all together and put it in one place for everybody to see. So I say all that to say, your boy's in the documentary. I'm famous. All right. Um, KP, what up? Chat, what up? Last show of the year. All the best 2026. Patrick Y, yes, all the best, man. MK Ultra, haven't seen you in a while. Where y'all people be, man? Fresh for 2026, you suckers. Happy New Year, KP, and Tuesday Live crew. I don't recognize this name, D Magwaza. Are you new to the chat? Happy New Year's Eve. Yes. Easter, Kenny, what's up? I was judging, I guess, jamming to the jam with KRS and Shaba. How did that collab come? Um, First of all, let me say I am an uncredited producer on that song. Uh, I believe, back in the early 90s, well, for those that know hip hop history, KRS One is credited with really being the guy who brought dancehall, reggae, and hip hop together. There were a couple of people that had did it before him, but the KRS One version of hip hop reggae was the one that set the trend. And because of that combination, a lot of the reggae artists who were trying to break into the American culture was seeing that they can use hip hop as a way in. So a lot of them came to KRS. As you may or may not know, KRS worked with Ziggy Marley. He did a remix for a song called One Bright Day uh, with Ziggy Marley. I was in the studio when they were doing that remix. I got to meet Ziggy Marley. This was in '89. This is before I was even in the group. Shout out to Ziggy Marley. And then he worked with Sly and Robbie, the great Sly and Robbie, on an album, and even put Willie D from BDP on a couple of songs on that album. And he worked with a couple of other reggae artists, and he had also Jamal Ski, um, who he was supposed to work with, but then they went their separate ways. Um, he had Shelly Thunder. So he was doing quite a few things in the reggae world. A lot of the reggae artists were coming to him. And then he gets the call from Shaba, who at that time, this was 91 when we worked on the song. Shaba was on fire. If y'all recall, Shaba was the dancehall king. And I've been around Chris. He has met just about everybody. And the only time I've ever really seen him excited to meet anyone was Shaba. Because KRS-One is a huge reggae dance hall fanatic. And Shaba, he was very excited to meet Shaba. And so they all came to the studio. I was in the studio when Shaba came. Um, and Chris was there with his team. Pal Joey was there, the producer of Love's Gonna Get You. And first we laid down the track, and everybody was contributing their pieces to the track. And let me just say, I contributed significantly to the track, the track, and then they played the bass line over it. So, but I was uncredited at that time. I wasn't even producing like that. But looking back on it, I contributed a lot to that song. Anyway, Chris did some rhymes and Shaba did his part. I got to see Shaba rock live, do his part of that song, and then Chris did a rhyme, but he changed it. So the rhyme that Chris did that day in the studio, he went back and wrote something different. And so when the song came out on Shaba's album, um, Chris's rhymes were different, but the beat and Shaba were the same. Now, I think that was Shaba's third single. They decided to remix it. Now, my man from Stetsasonic, Bobby Bobby Simmons, Bobby Simmons, the drummer from Stetsasonic, got that remix, and he did a fantastic job. He stripped down just about everything from the original, although a couple of the things that I put in the record, the only things that stayed from the original is what I put in the record. I'm just going to say, I'm bigging myself up right now. The only things that stayed in the original from what he stripped down is what I put into the record. And then he added his own stuff. He put the bridges over in the record. He put some other things, new bass line and everything. And that's the video version that you guys see. The video version is the remix. And that record went to #1 on Billboard rap charts, a #1 single for Shaba and KRS. And we then went on tour with Shaba. So it was dope. Um, and Shaba won a Grammy that year for that album. He won the best reggae album or something like that. He won a Grammy. Um, had I been credited, I think I might have been, I don't know if Grammy Award winning or something, but I wasn't. So, but big up to Shaba, super cool brother. Um, I'm gonna do my impersonation right now. Most of y'all say my impersonation sucks, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The last time I saw Shaba, he said, "Where your brother?" I think my Shaba impersonation is amazing. Okay, now I'm super far behind, but I like that question. Angel Minded, like your name. Peace KP, I got the book. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Let me sweet guy, sweet Goldilocks. What's up? Uh, Say what now? Yo, Kenny, what's up? Always checking your show and destroying the like button. Thank you so much. Daylight Doyle. Yes. Is your picture there in the bio in your picture part of the Daylight Doyle transformation. Oh, that's funny. Uh, let's see. That's funny. Donna McCall, what's happening, Kenny? Looking forward to 2026. Yes, I as well. Uh, Peace, Kenny. Quick question. Have you ever worked with Scram Jones? If not, are you a fan of his work? No, I've never met or worked with Scram Jones, but I've seen some of his scratching and stuff on YouTube. He's pretty dope. I'm super far behind, so let me try to move. Um, Rosmel, what up? MMA, what up? Philly Sheed, what up? Um, G Doyle Kenny, my wife got me the book for Christmas. Dope. Super stoked about that. Much love to all. Repping one half of the Doyle brothers. Sanford and theme song sample. Quincy Jones was the Sanford and Son. I think who sampled that? Nice and Smooth. Yeah. Um, Flochi says bust out the medallion for the end of 2025. This the rant medallion. I feel a good rant coming up. I need to get a rant that I haven't ranted before. Danelle and Don Freeman, what up? It says, Yo, KP, Chris has no problems with calling rappers and MCs whack. No, he does not. But I personally don't believe in whack and dope and as far as art is concerned. And that's one of the big arguments that me and Chris always has about music. He sees things in black and white. This is the basis of our arguments. He sees things in black and white. Either it's incredible, the dopest shit you've ever heard, classic for all time, or it's whack. I say there are some things in the middle. There are some things that's not the greatest of all time, but it's pretty good. It's some good stuff. There are artists out there that, to me, that are not in the top tier rapper category. They're like a notch down. They are very good to good, but they've been good for a long time. And you can be good for a long time and have a great career being good. Not great, but good. So I think some things are good. And when I say, yo, I play him a song, we'll listen to something, and I'll be like, that's good. He'd be like, that's whack. And I'm like, it's not whack. And then that's how it starts. That's how the arguments always starts. I like something that he doesn't. Every once in a while, he'll like something that I don't. And then that's another big argument. And for those that saw my Wu-Tang epic fails, you'll know what I'm talking about. I have a Wu-Tang epic fails and I have an NWA epic fails, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, he has no problems calling people stuff whack. Nervous rant. That's one of my rants. I'm not gonna do my nervous rant, but uh JT says, crazy that we are here on the KP show about to move into another year. Time just flying by. It really is. Time just goes. And I feel like the older you get, seems like somebody steps on the accelerator. Man, I mean, for me, it seemed like it took forever to get to 30 years old. But 30 to 40 was like, bang. Um, let's see. Uh, Trying to see. Yahweh Deacon, thank you so much for that compliment. Cool dude, like the show. Thank you so much. Um, Canero, what's up? Can KRS One dance like Flavor Flav? I don't see KRS. I don't think I've ever seen him really dancing. he'll do a little jig on stage. Sometimes he gets caught up and you see him doing something. But um, I'll tell you a funny story. Uh, I seen Chris doing a Mace impersonation that was hilarious. Back in '95, um, we was on tour. We were on a tour bus. It was me, Chris, the whole BDP, and Channel Live was with us. Big up to Hakeem Green, Tuffy. There was a few of us, and we were all on the bus, but Chris was the last one getting on the bus. And I think the Puffy and Mace video "Can't Hold Me Down" must have just came on because Chris comes on the bus and he starts dancing like Mace and saying the rhymes. Girls adore me, girls adore me, something like that. That rhyme, and he's doing the dance like Mace. We was crying laughing. I'm just telling Chris business out there like that. But it was a funny moment, like for everybody on the tour bus. He must have just saw the video. And I haven't seen Mace, since the 90s. But if I ever see Mace now, I'm gonna tell him, yo, KRS could do a mean Mace impersonation. It was hilarious. He was doing the dance, the shoulders, everything, the facial expression, everything. It was hilarious. That's probably one of the few times I've ever seen him dance. And that was his Mace impersonation. The theme song from Beretta was sampled. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. That's right. You are correct. Um, let's see, I'm super behind, but I want to get some of these in. Joker got robbed of an MVP because Embiid cried to the league, but that same year Joker won the chip. So Joker could have really been MVP like 5 years in a row. Um, and I say it all the time on this channel. I do not understand how he does it. I've never seen anybody like him. He is not exciting at all, unless you are pure. If you're a pure basketball fan, he is probably one of the most exciting people you've ever seen with what he can do offensively. But if you're just a casual fan, he is the least exciting person to watch. But it's amazing what he can do. And they say injuries are a part of sports, but it sucks, man. It really, really sucks when stars get hurt, and it changes the whole trajectory of a season. And seems like more and more people are getting hurt right now. And I always blame it on the sneakers. I don't trust these new sneakers, man. We've had more ACLs and um, calf strains and um, blown Achilles and all this. I don't have any I don't have any data in front of me, but it seems like more people are getting hurt now than they were when I was growing up, when they had on um, Air Force Ones and shit like that, and Dunks and stuff like that. I don't trust these new sneakers, um, but I'm glad that the Joker is not out for the year because the league needs guys like that. Um, JT, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. KP, let's get the end of the year right. Can you tell us your top 3 guests you would like to get on the live and why? Give thanks. Top 3 guests I would like to get. Well, that's crazy. Q-Tip, who I told y'all guys, I saw Q-Tip about a month and a half, about 2 months ago. I have not asked him to come on the show as of yet, but I will ask him. Um, you know how much I love Native Tongue. And I have asked a few members of the Native Tongue to come on the show. And the only one so far who has come is Prince Paul. Thank you so much to Prince Paul. Um, I'm gonna put Q-Tip up there. Um, Dr. Dre is one of my favorites. I would love to talk to Dre about his approach to making music. Um, Let me get an MC in there. What MC would I love to get? See, I would love to talk to the guard, but I want to talk to the guard, but not about rapping. I want to talk to Rakim about production because he produced a lot of those songs that we loved, and I would love to talk to him about that. I would love to get the guard on here, but not about rapping. We've heard him talk about rapping to nauseum. I want to talk about production. Um, Puffy would be a crazy interview. Um, it'd be probably really controversial. You know, if you got somebody like that, why would you let him come on your platform? That would be really controversial. But I would love to get to the hear more of his side of the story before I'm, to get a whole big picture, get a whole picture. We've only really heard one side. Um, and these are people that I think would be candid because there's some people who I've watched interviews with them. And it seems like you're pulling teeth to get them to answer questions. Um, Imagine how great an interview Tupac would probably be now. And if you watch that Diddy documentary, Tupac is really the realest to ever do it. Tupac is the realest to ever. I think he's the realest dude ever. Um, I'm gonna leave. I gotta think about that a little more because there's tons of people that would be really interesting. I'd like to talk to somebody who we haven't really heard that much, really speak. A dope MC who we haven't heard their story really. That's who I'd like to talk to. So far behind you. I don't want to do a De La Doyle scroll down so early, but damn, I'm far behind. Um, Yo, Rod Justice, I'm just seeing this. You said just what I said. Why do we hear about athletes having so many types of injuries that I hardly recall ever happening 40 years ago? Yeah. It's amazing that you said that 20 minutes ago. um, we got the best equipment, the best treatment, the best medicine, the best trainers, doctors the world has ever known, and dudes are getting hurt more. And we got all this load management and all of these things, and dudes are just getting hurt more. Now, our guys didn't get hurt, meaning 40 years ago, guys didn't get hurt as much, but their careers only lasted 12, 13 years, and you were done. Dudes are 17, 18 years in, looking great, but they're always hurt. I'm starting to think there's an X amount of a number that an athlete can play in maybe NBA. There's a number of games. And no matter how you stretch it out, there's X amount of games a player could play before he can't play. And if you play him a bunch of games, then it'll be 10, 12 years. If you do load management and stretch it out to 18, 19, he's going to get hurt and miss games. I think there's a X amount of games. Of course, I have no data. This is just my opinion. I'm gonna do a scroll down. I'm gonna jump because I'm so far behind that I'm just gonna jump in right. I just skipped 50 comments, y'all. I'm sorry. Imperial J to MC, where you been? There's names on yo. What's up, KP? I'm late to the live. Haven't seen your name in months. Gregory Nettis says, nah, your Snoop Dogg is better, Kane, than your Shaba. I just see. Thank you, Patrick Wise. Says KP sounded just like Shaba. Thank you. My Shaba impersonation is mixed reviews. Yeah, your impersonations suck. Uh, no fucks given, says my impersonations suck. Uh, See, Rock Justice says I like the Shaba impersonation. Thank you. See, that's why I said there's no such thing. You see them guys, you see what I'm talking about? There's no such thing as dope and whack. Did I move this? There's no such thing as dope and whack. My impersonation is whack to one person and sounds good to another person, and they are both correct. Kenny, the anyway is always legendary, but I love the what's up from Sweet Goldilocks. Uh, Sandwich Gervais. My favorite KRS One reggae dancehall song is KRS One featuring Mad Lion and Shaggy. Hey yo, do you have any info on how that song came together? I was in the studio when they recorded that song. I don't know how the song came together. I just know I was hanging with Chris and I'm like, what you doing? He's like, I'm going to the studio in Lyon. And I got there and Shaggy was there. Keep in mind, I met Shaggy years ago. And a matter of fact, I think I met Shaggy, his impersonation, Shaggy. I met Shaggy before he blew because in 1995, when we did Soul Train, and for those of you that didn't see my Soul Train epic fails, please watch it. I got a couple more epic fails coming, so I keep saying it. I just haven't had a chance to record them because I'm so busy trying to get this audiobook done. Um, in 1995, when we went to do Soul Train, Shaggy was there taping a segment too. I forgot what song he had in 95. Must have been Boombastic. And he walked up on us and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Shaggy." I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And he said, "Man, don't give me that nice to meet you. We met way before this." And I was like, "Really, Shaggy?" And he's like, "Yo, I'm from Flatbush, man." And I'm like, "Well, I'm from Flatbush, so we must have met way back." And Shaggy's always super cool when I see him. Dude got a diamond album. Y'all ever see the story? I think it's Vice or Mass Appeal, the story of how It Wasn't Me blew up. I love those fluke stories about how something could out of one thing happens and a song comes out of obscurity and that album sold 10 million copies, diamond status for a reggae artist. Um, anyway, I say all that to say I went to the studio with KRS One and Shaggy was there with Sting. And shout out to Sting, the producer for Shaggy. And I remember playing some beats in the studio. And Sting actually liked a couple of my beats. He was like, yo, like we need to work. But that was the end of that. But I'm just happy that Sting liked my beats. He liked a couple of beats that I played for him. I wish we could have collabed more. I think I left the studio without ever getting his number. And plus, Chris and them, they was working, so I wasn't trying to be. And I don't even know how I got to be playing beats in the studio. Maybe it was some downtime, but I was playing beats, and Sting liked a couple of my beats. So I was there when they did that song. I don't know how it came about, but I know I was there. Um, let's see. Um, KP, do you have any resolutions for 2026? Finish the audio book, get it out. That is the number one resolution. Should have been done 3 weeks ago. Um, my eating, I'm changing my diet a little bit. I gotta come down on my weight a little bit. Um, I think I want to take a trip. I have not been on a vacation trip in decades. I want to go somewhere warm when it's cold, and I'm putting that on my resolutions for 2026. Before the winter is up, I would like to go somewhere warm. Uh, Still far behind, man. I hate this. And everybody on every channel, there's a bunch of comments that they don't see. But me, I try to see everything. It's just not possible. Spookman, why did KRS diss DOS effects at first and accept them later? KRS never dissed DOS effects. A lot of people thought that. I think it was the song Feel the Vibe, Feel the Beat, which people thought was a diss to DOS effects. It was not. We loved DOS effects. We loved the Hit Squad. So much so that I remember Wendy Williams came on the radio and was saying that KRS-One dissed DOS effects. And I personally put in a call to one of the members of DOS Effects. I can't remember which one it was, but I got their number from their manager and I put in a call and explained to him that there's no way BDP is dissing DOS Effects ever. So no, he did not accept them later. They always were accepted. Chubb Rock sampled the Flintstones. Let me scroll. Let me scroll. Let me scroll. Let me scroll. And here we go. Mike Rock says, "Nervous is fire." That is the song that I always, the one song on By All Means Necessary that bothers me. And Essays on BDPism was floating around. If they could have switched that, it would have been perfect. Kenneth Smith, oh, okay, I mean, he dissed LL in a freestyle, but then apologized to LL saying it wasn't serious. It was just a freestyle. I think I remember that freestyle. And I remember KRS was battling some dude in the crowd who tried to diss him at a show. And Chris said some freestyle and said LL's name in it because the guy was dressed like LL. And then Chris said something like, "You're dressed like LL and LL is whack," or something like that he said. And then he came back and was like, he did not mean that at all. Like that was just a freestyle, but that was a slip of the tongue because he has nothing but respect for LL. And I believe that KRS, when I've heard him mention many times that LL is one of the reasons LL opened doors for him to walk through. And I personally have a good relationship with LL. Whenever I see him, it's all good. But yeah, I remember that. That was a few years back. Yeah, I saw the Can You Dance video. Chris was bugging. Corey Flood, Kenny may have just started beef, Mace versus KRS. That would be so whack if Mace took it personal. I thought it wasn't a diss, it was funny. Like we all thought it was funny. And I'm super cool with Mace. So I hope Mace don't take it as a diss. It was just Chris saw the video and just started doing a whole Mace impersonation, and it was really funny. Whatever you think in your mind, KRS doing a Mace impersonation, whatever you think that could look like, it's funnier than that. I was always been super cool with Mace. I remember walking down the street. I remember me and Heather was walking down the street in Manhattan one time. It was this 90, probably like 97, 98, 98. He was walking down the street right by Macy's in 34th Street. We were coming from somewhere, probably a record company. And yeah, we were coming from MCA Records. We had a meeting at MCA and we were walking down. We walked all the way down from 50 something down to 34th. And a Jeep pulled up and somebody honked the horn. The car was going past and it was like, yo, it was Mace and Little C's was together and they stopped the car. And I came over to the car and we kicked it for a second and then they pull off. And that's the true test to me when you're cool with somebody is, do they speak when you don't see them? See, I've seen a lot of people who, and we've all done this. I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but I've seen people see people out the corner of their eye and don't speak and just keep it moving or act like they don't see you. But then when you get right in front of them, then they be like, "Oh, what's up?" And you know you saw me. Um, But Mace didn't have to stop the car. He was driving down the street in Manhattan, and I'm walking, and he stopped the car to say what's up. That's probably the last time I saw Mace. That had to be like 98 or 99, something like that. Um, but no, I hope there's no beef. That would be so whack if I started some problems. Def Rock says Mason's gonna say pause when he meets you. I know, right? That it's hard to watch their shows because everything is pause on that show. Joker is effective because he doesn't waste energy. None. If he was like had one of those electric ratings on him, he'd be the most highly rated electric rating. He wastes zero energy. Everything he does is planned, and he has the best touch around the basket I think I've ever seen. Definitely for a big man, but maybe ever. K9 Posse sampled the theme from a team from the A Team. Oh yeah. I used to see when I was in college back in the day, I used to see Eddie Murphy's brother, the one that was in K9 Posse. I used to see him in Jersey City. Big up to him. Um, Never met Eddie Murphy. Eric Sermon or Redman would be a dope guest. They would be. And you know what? I chickened out. I think I told you guys this. I talked to Eric Sermon a few months ago. Heather put him. I said Heather's name 3 times now. Might be a problem. Um, H Bully put him on the phone with me, and we had a 5-minute conversation. It was great. Um, but I didn't say, "Yo, why don't you come on the show?" I chickened out. Um, Reggie Noble would be great too, but he's done so many interviews. I don't want to do interviews and like rehash what people already said. But Reggie would be. He's my top 5 favorite MCs of all time. Um, let's see. Jeff Rocker says I heard a joint from Nine on Instagram. Word. That's interesting. Big up to my man Nine. I haven't seen Nine since What You Want Nine was out. Fat beats from my rhymes. Big up Nine. By the way, this has been a great year for well, for classic hip hop. This has been a great year. A lot of the classic artists that we grew up loving all put out new music this year, and it's been great. And led by Mass Appeal, but a lot of artists put out a lot of great music, and that has been fantastic. For the mainstream rap, this has been the worst year in the history of rap music since 1979. Of course, y'all guys all know the stat that the past few months have been the first time that a rap song has not been in the top 40 on Billboard Hot 100 since 1990. 35 years since Just a Friend from Biz Markie first hit the charts. It's been 35 years a rap song has been in the top 40 and it's finally out. And with no songs in sight. And imagine in 1979, when rap first hit the records, we got the Sugar Hill Gang, we got Rappers Delight, 79, 80. From September, when did Rappers Delight come out? September-ish, October 79 to October 80. Those 12 months, we got Sugar Hill, we got Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Spoonie G, Funky 4 Plus 1, Curtis Blow, Super Rhymes. All these records were incredible, all playing on the radio. Treacherous 3. It was crazy. That was in 79, 80. And we've always had hot records playing in the cars, playing in the radio, playing in the boom boxes all over since then. And now in 2025, there are no bangers. There are no rap songs that are bangers that everyone is bumping. None. So on the classic level, we got a lot of good guys come out, nice tours and everything. On the mainstream level, rap is in big, big trouble. Jadman, what up? Says, it's very weird, Kenny. I just thought about your neighbor. Y'all remember when my neighbor banged on a wall when I was blasting that I was blasting beats off the SP 1200. It's right behind me here. No, it's literally behind me. I was blasting beats off the SP 1200 and a neighbor knocked on the wall. Y'all remember that episode? Yeah, that was funny. Crusher Blacko, never say you never produced hits because Heather B's Do You was all over the place. That was a major smash, dope classic. Thank you, Crusher Blackwell. Yeah, that song did real well for us. We got to Billboard's top 10 rap singles for a month. It was in top 10 for a month. And we made the list of 1998 Billboard top rap singles of 1998. Heather B's Do You was at number 75. We slid in at the buzzer. Um, Thank you so much for that compliment. I appreciate that. Rosmel says free Diddy. I wouldn't go far as to say free Diddy, but um, free Suge Knight. What about King's son? He just did an interview the other day. I would talk, that's my man's son. I would talk to King's son. Gergen says, Kenny, you forgot Eric Sermon, your boy. I did not forget Eric Sermon. He just did he does a lot of interviews. Um, but my interviews would be different because I'll be breaking down. I want to know how you did individual songs. Tell me about this song, this song, this song. I want to really get into it. And he's a very good interviewer. He's funny on that Diddy doc too. The Green Eyed Bandit, Can't Stand It. Um, I'll never forget about my boy Eric Sermon, but and big up Parrish too. That's my man too. I don't think Karis would be a good interview because they argue forever on just the first question. It depends. Yeah. If Chris says something, I'd have to, you know what it is? I need more. I have to have him elaborate more. And that's the beauty of knowing Karis one so well. That there's a lot of things that he said and done on record, off record, that if I was confused about, I had the opportunity to ask him, what did you mean when you said this? Or do you really feel this? And get a nice, clear, concise answer that cleared things up for me. But I think a lot of people in the world did not get the clarity that I got. That's why sometimes I say there's certain questions that I know the answer to, but I'd like it to come from him. Um, but yeah, that would be funny. Philly, she said Tupac is perhaps the most charismatic figure in the history of hip hop. I'm not going to say perhaps. I'm going to say yes, he is. I don't think any artist ever captured everybody. LL's close. That had the girls loved Tupac. The fellas loved Tupac. The conscious dudes loved Pac when he talked the conscious lyrics. The street dudes loved Pac when he talked thug life. He was a movie star. His real life, he did a lot of real life street stuff that gave him authenticity. He was always himself, even like in going to jail, even in the courtroom, even when dudes stuck him up in the studio, he was always Pac. Um, he is, I think, the most charismatic figure in the history of hip hop. I think that. LL reached a point where he was, girls loved LL, but seems like guys have mixed opinions about him sometimes. I think LL got a lot of flack from guys, because he made records for girls. It didn't seem like Tupac even made a lot of records for girls. He just made the records he wanted to make, and the girls were just with him. Um, but guys like that, it almost seems like a guy like that can't live that long. Seems like 25 years of Pac was about all we was ever really gonna get. Seems like it, like he was on a collision course. I don't know. Bring on Bumpy. Ain't heard that dude in a while. Bumpy was on the channel. We did a whole interview about 6 months ago. Go on this channel. Bumpy was on here. We talked for over an hour, almost 2 hours. Yeah, Karis got the song "Can You Dance?" where he doing the dances in the video. Nothing crazy, but like the Biz dance, Humpty Hump, and the Wop. Yeah, I saw that. I thought Chris was. That was a head scratcher for me, but that was probably for the video. But outside of that, I've never really seen him uh, tear it up on the dance floor. Um, B-Boy Jones, I wonder if Hebron will play past this season. If so, hoping it's not on my Lakers. I think LeBron will play past this season because I think he wants the big send off. I'm retiring. Everybody shower me with love as I walk into the sunset. And I don't think it's going to be on the Lakers. The Lakers are moving in another direction. And from watching the games, there's a problem there on that Lakers team. There's some chemistry problem there. And I don't want to blame it on LeBron, but it just seems like that team was rolling, and then LeBron came on the team and everything changed. And his gravity is so great that it's going to change with him there, but it hasn't changed for the better. It went from this team was a 2 seed and they looking like they can really contend to JJ's on the hot seat. They're talking about the general managers on the hot seat. This dude brought in Luca, and they're like, we don't know. Now you're on the hot seat. All in the past like 3 weeks. Um, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be on the Lakers after this year. This is a good point, JT. The youngins are drilling with with a trainer. They need to scrimmage more so their bodies are used to get to game time movement. That's a good point. When we were growing up back in the day, there were no trainers. We just balled all day long, fell, cut, dart, cut back and forth, boxed out, scrapped, this great all day on concrete, chain link fence, all of that. You're right. It might train your body a different way than only being in the gym. These guys are in the weight room with trainers working on specific parts of their body. We want this muscle, the protective muscle, to be a certain way and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. It's not helping. You're right. That's a good point, man. Daryl Thomas, at the same time, I'm amazed at all the all-stars mid to late 30s still starting or getting a bunch of minutes. That is the other thing. It's like Steph Curry and these dudes are in their late 30s. James Harden, all these kind of dudes are still all-star level players, but they're great. See, if you're a great player, you'd be great at any era, any age. They're still great. They're not, they've come down a notch. They're not all pro players. Now they've come down a notch to all star player. Then I guess the next notch down would be a good role player. Some of these guys are still in the all-star level in their 30s. That's unheard of. Dwight says, "What's up, Kenny? My family look forward to watching you every Tuesday." What's up, family? KP, have you ever seen a retired basketball player walk? It looks painful. Yeah, I have. You are correct. B-Boy Jones, Kenny's Biz impersonation was decent. Thank you. Philly She said Kenny sounded like Shaba. Thank you. Vincent Ross, Build and Destroy has been in repeat. The line I love is the way I am. I love I love that the way I am and can't nobody out here change me. Yeah, I think that's the first line. Produced by Kenny Parker, by the way. For those that did not see my sex and violence breakdown, I did it about 2 years ago now. Please check that out. I talk about the song Build and Destroy. Um, that was a dope song, dope time doing it in the studio. Um, let's see. JT, you're laughing at my Shaggy impersonation now? Oh man. KP, Kenny, did you see this crazy accusation against Stephen Diggs? I saw a accusation of assault. I don't know all the details. I just saw a headline that he assaulted somebody. Don't know who. Um, KP, do you remember who the other guys were in the intro of the Just a Friend video? Um, I could probably name it if I saw them. For those that don't know, I'm in the Just a Friend video, sitting on the bench with Biz, and that's all his people. I know Cool V is there. There's a bald head, light skinned little dude. That's Little Red. That's Biz's man. DJ Backspin from New Jersey is in that video. Biz's other man, I believe it was his manager at the time, his road manager. He was sitting on the bench. And there's one other person I'm missing. I can't remember. Um, Thank you, Earworks. Kenny, you are truly a funny dude. I bust out laughing at least a few times every show. Thank you so much. Uh, Thank you. Vincent Ross, an interview with Arthur Baker would introduce his genius to younger generations. Yes. I saw him interviewing Marley Marl last week. I watched that interview. It was really good. Um, would love to get Marley on the show. Matter of fact, I reached out to Marley Marl. I don't have his number, but I DM'd him on Instagram after I watched that Arthur Baker interview because I had some follow-up questions that I wanted to get into. I would love to talk to Marley Marl. Oh my goodness, how great would that be? Marley, I'd love to have you on the show. Anybody know Marley? I don't got his number. I used to have his number. And one time I was looking for Lords of the Underground, Funky Child. Could not find that record anywhere. It was out of print. And I called Marley. I was like, yo, I need Funky Child because, he is the executive producer and producer behind Lords of the Underground. I said, Marley, I need this song. And he said, I got you. And I met Marley in Manhattan. He pulled up in the car and handed me 2 copies of Funky Child by Lords of the Underground. So that was dope. Marley's always been good to me. Uh, Beatline Bulletin, thank you. Says the Shaba impersonation has me cracking up every time. I think it sounds so important, Kenny. Thank you so much, man. De La says Sting is one of my favorite artists. He's actually pretty poetic in his solo work. It's kind of admirable. I'm not talking about, I don't know if you mean Sting, not Sting from the Police. Sting from Sting International Reggae Sound. Um, I think I got it maybe confused. There's a guy named Sting. Sting International is a reggae sound system. And he's also a producer who produced all of Shaggy's music. That's the Sting I'm talking about, not Sting from the Police. That would be crazy. No. Um, MMA says, gotta go to Barbados, Kenny. Yeah, that would be dope. Um, Mike Rocks, shout out Wendy Williams. Big up Wendy. I have not seen Wendy Williams in. I haven't seen Wendy since last time I saw Wendy. I think she was still on Kiss. I didn't see Wendy since she was on BLS. I haven't seen Wendy since probably the 90s. Me and Wendy always been cool. Um, First time I met Wendy, she kind of blew me off. Did I ever tell this story? Back in '89, for those that have the book, I'm not going to spoil it, but know that I'm just going to say I used to go visit Red Alert up at Kiss FM. I'm not going to tell how that whole thing came about, but I used to go check out Red Alert at Kiss FM. And Red Alert used to be the DJ, and there used to be a guy named Jeff Fox, the Fox that rocks the box. He used to be one of the hosts on um, Kiss FM, and then the overnight host was Wendy Williams. She was brand new, and so I was there with Red, and I remember there was like a commercial break, and I went with Red in to see Jeff Fox, and we were talking to Jeff Fox, and all of a sudden I see Jeff Fox fix up his shirt, fix up his pants, like he, fix up his shirt. And I'm like, what's going on? And I turn around, and this woman comes into the office, and I was like, oh. And he goes, Kenny, this is Wendy Williams. Um, you know, and I already knew who she was because I recognized her voice from the radio. And he said, this is Wendy Williams. And he said, Wendy, this is Kenny, this is KRS's brother. And she just looked at me and turned around and kept walking. Like she didn't even say hello. She just went like this and kept walking. I was like, damn, excuse me, lady. Um, That's the first time I met Wendy. And then after that, I saw her out and about, and she was more nicer. And there's times when I've seen her and we actually chatted a bit. Um, this was in the 90s. And then she exploded. The world needs Wendy Williams back on the air. Love her or hate her, she is very interesting for media. Now Rogers would be a dope interview. Yeah, y'all taking it outside of hip hop. Now Rogers would be absolutely phenomenal. He's done a lot of interviews too. Pineapple on pizza. I've never had it. I would say nah. Even though I've never had it, there's so many other things that's on a pizza that I would go to before pineapples. MMA says Marlena Shaw would have been an awesome interview for Kenny. I have a conversation with her on my channel. Oh, I didn't know you had a channel, MMA. Yeah, Marlena Shaw. Run away, little boy. Remember that? Is that Marlena Shaw? Am I thinking of the same one? Yeah. MMA says Marlena Shaw passed away. Run away, little boy was fire. I remember that record was on the radio. Rosmel says KRS said LL was an icon. He did. He is an icon. Um, how far am I behind? I'm a little ways behind, but I'm gonna scroll through real quick and see if I see something. Um, Before I do an official De La Doyle scroll down. Ego is a problem in hip hop and music in general. Yeah, but it's a fine line because that same ego is what makes artists great and do what they do. It's like a double-edged sword. That same ego that causes you to exude confidence that makes your music and your aura and your presentation and your shows great is the same ego that will also cause your downfall and cause you to diss fans and cause you to think you're bigger than you are. It's a double-edged sword. Who was KRS dissing on that song? That'd be a question for him. I know the answer though. Uh, Gregory Nellis, the Joker is a better version of Rick Smits. Nah, he's way more. He's like a taller, slower version of Bird. His passing, I think he's a top 5 passer in the history of the league at any position. He could be a top 4. I mean, his passing ability is unbelievable. In a split second, he anticipates the play. He throws passes before the play even happens. He maps the whole court. His passing alone is among the best I've ever seen. His touch around the basket is the best I've ever seen. And he shoots the three at 40%, and he gets boards, and he has the footwork, and he doesn't jump at all. You can't really compare him to anybody. I'm still, excuse me, trying to figure him out. I can't figure him out. Sandwich Reyes, KP, I can see Mace taking it personally as a slight. These Harlem dudes are so sensitive about their image. That is true. Maybe I shouldn't have told that story. I hope Mace doesn't take it personal because I think the reason that Chris did it is because he was liking the song and he thought it was funny, and he just started doing it. I probably shouldn't have told that story. You are correct. I hope Mace doesn't take it personal. We love Mace, and I thought it was funny. That's why I told it just now. I hope you guys thought it was funny. Uh, let's see. Tybo says, I don't care about any chart position. Me and KRS agree on that. That is true, but you wouldn't keep a record companies care. And in order for you to keep your deal, in order for you to make music, in order for you to have the ability to make more music, at some point you have to do some chart. You have to put up some numbers. You got to put up numbers or you're going to get dropped. That's just the bottom line. Now, where you land on these charts, you can say a person like KRS can say that, and he's had huge chart success. Not that he cares, but he's also had it. See, it'd be different if he says, I don't care about chart success and never had any. But once you get a taste, it changes you. And I don't think, I can say this, he has never made any music for the charts. Maybe with the exception of Step Into a World. That song was more um, calculated. I'm going to do an epic fail. I keep saying I'm going to do an epic fail on that song because it's mad funny. Um, that song was funny how it came about. But for the most part, Chris just does what he feels like doing. And it just so happened that over the years, especially early in his career, what he felt like doing also sold. But the charts matter in the long run. If you want to make a career out of, you want to stay if you want to make it your professional career, you at some point have to put up some numbers. Um, all right, I'm going to jump down. Damn. I'm going to go all the way down. See you guys talking about Wendy. Let's see this. I see you breathing full. Glad that her needs are being supported if she's still in a mental facility. Imagine she's worth $100 million and she can't even get access to her money. It's crazy. It's crazy. CMC, you already know. Thank you for contributing to what made this year a great year for the Kenny Parker Show. You have been spectacular on this channel, and thank you so much. What up, KP? Speaking of Arthur Baker, he recently talked to Terminator X. Terminator X! And never heard X speak. I never heard X speak even after he dropped Valley of the Jeep Beats in the 90s. He would be dope here. Yes, he would. And I've seen Terminator X out and about. He's always been nice to me. He would be dope. Somebody told me that Terminator X didn't speak English for a long time. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, he would be dope. I'd like to go on Arthur Baker's show too. Um, what a legend. That dude made Planet Rock. De La Door, Kenny, who made the Wanna Battle instrumental for KRS? I don't know what that is. B-Boy Jones's Joker B-Boy IQ is off the charts. It's almost beyond IQ. He's almost psychic the way he plays. He's almost psychic. Yeah, but you're correct. The way he understands every aspect. He has solved basketball. He solved the game. He's a chess master in the game. Get well soon, Joker. Christopher Caldwell says Joker is Bird, McHale, Walton, and Lane Beer. That is a great answer. That's exactly what he is. He has the basketball savvy and IQ of Bird, and he doesn't shoot like Bird, but he can shoot that ball. He has all of the footwork and all of the post moves of a Kevin McHale. He has the big man passing of Bill Walton, who was considered the best big man passer, but he has all of that. And then the Lane Beer, I guess, with the outside shooting, the defensive boards, the physicalness. That is a great assessment right there, Christopher Caldwell. He is those four players combined in an era that's fast paced and you can't really be physical. Let's see. Um, Tybo says, stop grouping people in one. I'm from Harlem and act like no artist from there. Maybe Kool Moe Dee or Doug Fresh. Um, you're right. Let's not group everybody together. And we're basing Harlem when I guess we're talking Dipset, who seem to be, what's the word, defensive when people say things. I've met Cameron in the past. He was cool. I met him once. Of course, like I said, Mace is my guy. I never met Jim Jones. Um, but they seem to be confrontational. Mace doesn't seem like a confrontational type of dude. And he seems like he has a good sense of humor. And that's why I told the story, because I think that Mace would see how funny that is. Um, but you never know. You also said that KRS was spitting Mace's lyrics while he was dancing like him. That's a reason for Mace not to be offended. To me, and it's funny. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. I'm feeling a little self-conscious now that you brought it up because I do see how One little comment could start a whole big thing, which I do not mean to do at all. KP, in your story, it did not sound like KRS-One was making a mockery of Mace. I think your story is all right. Thank you. That's how I hope it comes across. Um, that's a good one, JT. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but a healthy Sabonis was more athletic than Joker. Yeah, he was. For a second, Sabonis was only healthy for like 6 weeks. Definitely see the comparison, though. Their b-ball IQ is up there. Yeah, Sabonis was huge too. So was Joker. But Sabonis couldn't shoot like the Joker, and he didn't pass. He was a good passer, but Joker's a different. He's a different level of passer and shooter. Um, let's see. Rosmel, do you know how many people got dropped from their record labels because they couldn't chart? A lot. Most, I would say 85%. Did you guys know that? What's the stat? 80% of records never sell more than 1,000 copies. 1,000 copies. 80% of all the music, most of them sell in the 200, 250 range. 250. That's less than your high school. If you sell 1,000 records, which would be considered hardly anything, you're in the top 20 percentile of all of the artists that ever lived. A record company will drop you if you sell 100,000 records. Depending on what they spent on you, you can get dropped if you sell 100,000 records. You can get dropped for that. They are in the business to make money. They don't care about how good you are as an artist, what your background is. Back in the day, sometimes you'd have a person at the record company who believed in a group and gave them like 3 or 4 chances to find their way. You ever see some of these groups who they started out, they didn't sell. The record company gave them another album, it didn't sell. Then the third album, it looked like there was something. And then that fourth album, they had the big explosion. Most groups never get that chance. You get one album, it didn't sell, you're dropped. Um, and I love to see stories where the record company gave an artist a chance to come into their own and end up paying off. Like I said, most of the time that doesn't happen. So, how many artists get dropped from their label because they didn't chart? Just about everybody. And you could be a big artist who have charted in the past and don't chart this time and get dropped. Do I hear a rant coming on? I feel myself getting a little. Vincent Ross says Wendy was fine, but she disrespected Q-Tip and Machiavelli. I was done. Wendy disrespected a lot of people. Wendy doesn't really have any friends in this game, and she chose to say, "I'm not gonna have any friends. I'm gonna say whatever I want to say about anybody I want to say it about." There's a lot of people in this world who are not sad to see Wendy be in this position. Um, I, for one, don't wish any ill on Wendy Williams. She's always been nice to me. Um, but she chose the route of the villain. And she disrespected Q-Tip and Machiavelli is a small, she disrespected hundreds of people. Um, let's see. DJ Johnny Juice did the scratching for Public Enemy. Yeah, that's the old story. The ghost scratching story. Kevin Smith said Terminator didn't speak due to shyness. I just seen him talking about it in an interview. or he had anxiety, something like that. I can't remember exactly. That could be it too. Like I said, I heard he didn't speak English, but like I said, that's just a rumor. I don't even know if that's true. Joker is what Sabonis would have been if he got to the NBA at 22 instead of 34. Yeah, they all talk about how great Sabonis was. I never got to see Sabonis till he was older. Um, Maybe. Let's see. Jenny Jones is better than Jim Jones. Wow. Um, Kenny, what percentage of new artists sign with a label versus going independent? I don't know. You mean now? Now the whole music business is so topsy turvy. I don't even know what if you even need a record company now. Almost. Um, Back in the day, you wanted to get a major record deal. You would sign with an independent only if you would sign with independent if they had distribution through a major. Uh, to sign with an independent, and this, I'm talking about the '90s. To sign with an independent means you were trying to get a major deal and they wouldn't take you. In the '80s, everybody was independent up until '88 when all the record companies started buying up all the artists. In the '80s, all the rap labels were independent and jerking people. And then in the '90s, there were so many independent labels. I don't know the exact uh I don't know the exact number on that. You're right, Canary. The Fugees got that second chance and it paid off for them and the company. Boy, did it pay off. Are you kidding me? That was like a $500 million gamble, maybe $1 billion. Um, the Fugees' first album didn't sell at all. Um, I used to like the song. We got the vocab, maybe because they sung BDP in it. They sung my Stop the Violence and My Philosophy in that song. But it was the remix. This I think it was Salam Remy. Big up Salam Remy. I haven't seen him in forever. It was the Salam Remy remix, I believe, of Nappy Heads. Nappy Heads really saved them. When Nappy Heads blew up, it was like, okay, this group might be on to something. And then they let Wyclef produce the whole second album, and the rest is history. But you're right. The Fugees really should have, based on business, they probably should have gotten dropped. But that Nappy Head song really said, okay, there's something there. Chris Morale, if you sell less than your last, you're getting dropped more than likely. Some get two joints. The third is a greatest hits, and you're gone. I'm thinking of A. Marie. Yeah, most artists, if you get to your third album and you're still making good and you're still charting, you're incredible. One of my rants is always say I don't believe in that term one hit wonder because it's a derogatory term. And people make it seem like you only had one hit, like you not good. Having one hit record puts you among the greatest artists that ever lived. One hit. That's how hard it is to get a hit. And you can be a big artist and get dropped. I've seen them. Mariah Carey sold 100 million albums. Left for Sony, went to Virgin. They gave her a gigantic record deal. She did that album. What was the album? She did the movie and the album. Was it Sparkle? She did that movie and the album that flopped. Virgin was so sure that Mariah Carey was done that not only did they drop her, but they gave her $20 million to leave. They paid off the rest of her contract, gave her 20 million. Just we think giving you 20 million is saving us money from the disaster that you're about to be, Mariah Carey. And this she had already sold 100 million records, diamond albums, and they dropped her from Virgin. She went over to Jermaine Dupri and said, Joe, help me. And he did the Mimi album with her that sold 6 million copies. Same Mariah, different producer. They dropped Mariah Carey. Just goes to show whoever was up there at Virgin was bugging. Philly Shea, I like how Dick Griffey believed in Midnight Star. I do not know the whole story behind that. Dick Griffey is another legendary tough guy, and I'm gonna use that. I'm tough guy in the music industry. I think he taught Suge Knight the business. Oh, it's 9:31. We are in overtime. This is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please hit the like button. We are in OT. I'm going to scroll down. I'm not that far behind. I'm going to look at some comments. And then I'm going to jump off and watch the Lakers, actually. Curry Vaughn says the Joker is overrated. And when you say overrated, meaning he should not be MVP, or what, 3 of the past 4 years, or 4 or 5, whatever it is, he's overrated. So where should he be rated? And I respect your opinion. I'd like to hear why do you think he's overrated? And he won a championship too. Um, I think he's unbelievable. I would love to play with him too. He's the type of person you want to play with. CMC. I'm not that familiar with the early days of music, but could Motown be the best label possibly ever in the business? Yeah, they could be. Not as far, you mean as far as making stars, the music, that hit machine they had going on over there? Berry Gordy assembled the greatest writers, the greatest bands, and dope artists. He had a whole finishing school. He taught artists how to look, how to dress, how to talk, everything. Um, yeah, Motown could be the best label of all time. They could be. If you look at their roster, that's the roster that had Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and Lionel Richie. It was all on that label at one time or another. It might have been all on the label at the same time. Yeah, let's say that. You know what? Yes, they are the best. Thinking about that lineup, yeah. They said Puff tried to get Wendy also. What do you mean by get Wendy? Um, um, they definitely had a lot of beef, Wendy and Puffy, for sure. I believe that's how Wendy got fired. Joker is not playing against Hall of Fame centers. Well, there are no that. There's not even that many. It's positionless basketball now. I've seen the Joker against the best big men of this era. They're all Hall of Fames. I think Embiid will be in the Hall of Fame. I think Anthony Davis is a big man that will be in the Hall of Fame. Um, who else of this era? And we're talking Joker's been in the league 10 years now. Um, I can't think off the top of my head. I don't want to slow down the show, but um, I've seen him against Wemby. I think these people will be in the Hall of Fame. Um, and he has destroyed everyone in his path. Uh, the center position is not the same as it was, but I think if you put the Joker in 1995, he would be all kinds of problems. I think the Joker in 1995, it'd be way physical, more physical, which would be fine with him. He likes physicality. There'd be more less three pointers and more mid range post ups and mid range shots and post moves. He would be destroying dudes, man. I as you guys know, I'm a big Joker fan, so I don't know. Joker era of comp is better than Dwight Howard, Brooke Lopez era. Dwight played against who? Dwight's played against Shaq and all them, right? At the end. You're totally wrong. He'll get in foul trouble. I don't know if he would get in any more or less foul trouble than he is now. He's very smart, man. I don't know if he'd get any more or less. There'd be more post defense. He wouldn't have to be chasing the pick and rolls. A lot of be more post defense. He's not a great defender, but I think he'd be solid. But who would guard him? Wow, with that logic, Magic playing point guard was weak shit. He played against Stockton, KG, Zeke, etc. So Magic at point guard was weak as shit. Well, those are you talking about great Magic. There was great point guards in the 80s. Zeke and these guys would be really good right now. Um, I don't know. It's just a matter of opinion. Uh, Nobody can touch Joker because his brothers would body you. Yes. He got some gangster brothers. He got a gangster brother and a wrestling brother or something, an MMA fighter brother or something. Plus, Joker's no joke. You saw what he did to one of them Markeith Morris, one of the Morris brothers. He kind of ruined his career. Body checked him. Um, but that's funny though. Yeah, you got to be scared with his brothers lurking around. Um, Paul Gasol was an underrated center. I don't know. He was underrated. He was a perennial all star in his time. I don't think he's in that upper echelon of centers, but he was very good. Is he in the Hall of Fame? Maybe. He's like a borderline Hall of Famer. I think he would have. I think he would. Joker would destroy him. Ron Artest would hack the Joker. Ron Artest. Well, Ron Artest would have to adjust to like a lot of the stuff Ron Artest did in the '90s. You couldn't do now. He's part of the reason why they changed the rules, but Ron Artest would be a really good defender right now. Uh, Dream Team tells you how they'll tell you how they'll do. I guess do what the '90s would do today. Um, it's really hard to compare eras um, because the style of play is so different now. I just think some people's games translate. Anyone who can play in the half court would translate very well in any era. I think. Anyone who could play with their back to the basket, anyone who could play in the mid range, stuff like that. Any of these great three pointers shooters of today, I don't think they'd be great back in the day. Uh, B-Ball says Joker would have Shaq in foul trouble, all kind of foul trouble, but Shaq would be a problem too. There'd be no stopping Shaq. There was no shot stopping Shaq then. I think Joker would be physical enough to once in a while keep Shaq. Because once you get Shaq about 3 to 5 feet away from the basket, you bring down his effectiveness tremendously, especially later years. But Shaq would be all kind of problems in any era. Shaq would be unbelievable right now. Um, but guarding the Joker for Shaq, they would pick and roll Shaq to death. Joker would just shoot those little jumps because Shaq loved to be in drop coverage. He would never come out and play the big man. Joker would just stand there and just drill them Jays all day long. And then he would post Shaq up, be very tricky. Shaq is not a disciplined defensive player. I would love to see that. Jeff Rocks didn't think Isaiah got snubbed from the Dream Team. I think he got snubbed. He was absolutely among the 15 best players in the world at that time. He was probably um and they at point guard, well, they took Stockton. Stockton belonged there. It's just that his antics, his on and off court antics, caused certain players not to want to play with him, particularly Jordan. And if Jordan says I'll play if he doesn't play, it's over, man. Um, I think Isaiah Thomas should have absolutely talent, resume. He should have absolutely been on that dream team. But when the Bulls finally beat them and Detroit Pistons wouldn't shake their hand, they all walked off the court and left to the locker room. Stuff like that is the reason why he wasn't on that team. I think Isaiah Thomas is better than John Stockton, but John Stockton is better for that team. I'm trying to think, who would I have left off the dream team to replace Isaiah with? Um, well, Christian Laettner. They was going to take one college kid. Shaq got snubbed too because even though Christian Laettner was the player of the year, Shaq was the best player in the country. But Christian Laettner or whatever college kid would have been on that team. So it's who would we take off the dream team to put Isaiah Thomas? And the only person I could think of is John Stockton, who at that time also deserved to be on that team. I can't think of anyone else who you would say should not have been on that team. I wouldn't look at the guards. You can't take Magic off. I wouldn't have took Chris Mullin off. You need shooting. You need the two guard. Um, that's a tough one. Magic and Jordan's opinions kept him off. Yes, as we hear later. Leitner used to bust Shaq ass in college. Do I remember Duke? I'm a Duke fan. Do I remember him busting? Leitner busted everybody's ass in college. Can you imagine not congratulating the winning team costing you a spot on the dream team? Yeah, if that winning team is the Bulls, if Jordan and Pippen are on that team and you absolutely want them on your dream team and they holding a grudge, yeah. Um, De La Doyle, Kenny, I watched an old episode, number 16. Wow. And you said you would rather have a smaller, loyal following than a bigger one without substance. And I think you have done that precisely. This is really great. Thank you so much. Yes, obviously, I want the channel to be big, of course. I want like minded individuals to come to the channel. But yeah, like I said, there's shock jock stuff I can do to bring more people to the channel, but I don't know about that. Um, Isaiah Thomas' theme song is Backstabbers by the OJs. They smile in your face. But I don't think they were backstabbers. I don't think Jordan made no qualms about the fact that he didn't like Isaiah. There was no love lost between the Bulls and the Pistons. He should have congratulated Jordan and then when they finally beat him. You don't walk off the court like that. When the Pistons beat the Bulls, they shook hands and said, "We'll catch you next year." Um, you don't. That's a bad thing, and that's a bad take. Jordan doesn't like him, and his boy Magic, that was his man, and Magic turned on him. And then you throw Scotty in there, and it's over. And the rest of them going to fall in line. Um, I don't know. I don't know if they stabbed him in the back. Jordan was in his face. um, do you remember when Jordan was a rookie and they froze him out at the All-Star game? I think it was Magic and Isaiah wouldn't give him the ball. I mean, eventually made up with Magic over that, but they froze him out. This young kid was getting so much attention. They froze him out of the All-Star game. All of these things stick. And you know how petty Mike is. All of these things stick. All of these things stick. He wasn't supposed to be on that team. He made his own bet. He had a great career, but he wasn't supposed to be on that team. Um, Explicit Kenny, any New Year's resolutions or big plans other than releasing the audiobook? Doing more stuff with the channel. I'm trying to bring more guests, and I'm gonna bring some of you guys on as guests. We talked about that. That would be cool to get to know some of you guys more with the channel. That's my big resolution. Uh, Now you got a chill show, KP. Just doing your thing. Thank you. My Ross, they say Zeke was an A in real life. That's why he wasn't on the team, allegedly. I could see him rubbing people the wrong way, man. I could see it. That's not true. The Pistons did not do that to the Bulls because that's what the Celtics did to them when they got past them. Nah, I'm pretty sure that when Isaiah Thomas and all them ducked out without I pretty if you watch the documentary, Jordan documentary, Last Dance, I'm pretty sure that was in there. How the whole Pistons team just walked off. And if the Celtics did it, that's whack too. Some teams really didn't like each other back in the day, man. It's not like now where everybody's all friendly. Them dudes hated each other. Uh, Joe Dumars and John Sally were the only ones to congratulate that Bulls team when they won. I have so much respect for Joe Dumars, man. That guy, class act. They listed that freeze out wasn't real. Mike shit 4 for 12 that game. Yeah, but he probably didn't shoot well, but they made a concerted effort to freeze him out, and it's been talked about. And Mike remembers that. Uh, Now, did he play well? He obviously not, but um, we're in overtime, y'all. I'm gonna jump off in a second. Just trying to get the last comments in that I can see. Um, and then we're gonna jump off. Uh, Aaron Henderson says Isaiah beat them all and would crack jokes at the table. Yeah, the Pistons had a nice run. Um, One of them years, though, I remember that year that Magic got that hamstring. Remember Magic pulled up lame with that hamstring? He knew it was over. When he got that hamstring, he knew it was over. You could see it in his face. Don't know if they beat them that year. But that Detroit team was tough. Um, Riding Dirty Face, what's up? Salute chat. Thanks, KP. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you, Dirty Face, out in New Mexico. Let me get a couple more. Let's see. The Celtics walked off on the Pistons, but Kevin McHale stayed back and dapped up Isaiah and told him to kick the Lakers' ass. Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that, Philly Sheet. Kevin McHale. I didn't know the rest of them walked off. I just remember the Kevin McHale, Isaiah Thomas interaction. I didn't know that Bird and all them walked off. Wow. Bill Laimbeer versus Draymond Green. Two of my least favorite people of all time in the league. That would be great. I hope they both would like give it to each other to the point where they both lose. All right, we're about to jump off, y'all. This is the last show of the new year. Happy New Year to everybody. 2026. Let's make it a special year. 2025 was great for the channel. Thank you guys so much. For everybody who contributed to the channel, extra special thank you. It's been a good year. I'll catch you guys in 2026. Let's hope for UFO disclosure. Oh, man. Hype Style, what up? In one of Magic Johnson's autobios, where Magic admitted he played a role in Isaiah being excluded for allegedly running hard with gay rumors about Magic after his HIV announcement. Oh, that's what, because they used to be friends. That's what did it. Isaiah started calling him gay. Ah, that makes sense. Thank you, Hype Style. Because I remember they used to be friends, and I was like, what caused that riff? And now I see. And that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Kenneth Smith. All right, y'all. I am getting off. I'm getting off. I'm getting off. It's an argument for Magic being the GOAT. He got a chip in college and got another one the following in the NBA. There is an argument for Magic being the GOAT. He is the greatest point guard of all time. I think that's not even a question. It's an argument, but I wouldn't put him over Jordan. I wouldn't put him over LeBron, but he's way up there. There's an argument. I wouldn't put him over Kareem, his teammate, but there's an argument for him. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Uh, God willing, Friday, we will be here, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And I am Ghost. Peace, y'all.